We live in an era where everything appears instantly accessible. Information, entertainment, and social connections materialize within moments. Never before have we possessed such abundance of resources, choices, and distractions. Yet paradoxically, never have we felt so profoundly unmotivated. This expanding apathy affecting millions globally is frequently misunderstood as laziness or personal failure. But what if our understanding is fundamentally flawed? What if the issue isn't absent motivation, but overwhelming stimuli drowning authentic self-connection? This aligns with Viktor Frankl's insights. The Austrian psychiatrist survived Nazi concentration camps, witnessing his family's death in Auschwitz. Despite years facing death, starvation, and brutality, he discovered resilience stemming not from pleasure or hope, but from something deeper: meaning. Frankl argued humans are driven by will to meaning. It's not comfort, pleasure, or success that sustains us, but our capacity to find significance in existence, especially during extreme circumstances. This illuminates our contemporary predicament. If authentic motivation springs from meaning, what happens when civilization becomes conditioned to seek only pleasure and distraction? What occurs when every moment of boredom gets filled with videos, every pause interrupted by notifications, every silence drowned by external stimuli? Perhaps you're not unmotivated. You're exhausted. Exhausted from pursuing objectives that aren't yours, consuming valueless content, existing in perpetual distraction. Motivation's absence isn't personal failure. It's a symptom warning that something fundamental has been lost amid the noise. The human mind wasn't designed for modern existence's relentless stimuli bombardment. Through millennia, our brains adapted to natural rhythms of activity and rest, focus, and dispersion. Recently, we've entered hyper-stimulation, where every silence gets filled with notifications, screens, artificial sounds, and information avalanches competing for attention. Downtime, once moments for reflection, is now perceived as wasted time. Technology became an anesthetic for the soul rather than consciousness's ally. We scroll endless feeds not from genuine interest, but because we cannot tolerate silence. We consume content frantically not to grow, but to escape ourselves. This behavior carries profound consequences. Dopamine becomes constantly activated by shallow, artificial digital stimulation spikes. The more we expose ourselves, the more insensitive we become to life's natural stimuli. Meaningful conversations, creative projects, quiet walks begin feeling tedious. Our brains, addicted to novelty and immediacy, unlearn valuing the deep, slow, and significant. Easy pleasure destroys genuine motivation. When every pause gets filled with digital rewards, we lose our ability to desire deeply. It's not that you don't want life change. Your reward system is hijacked by stimuli, merely simulating achievement. If we're busy fleeing boredom, we're also fleeing questions that truly matter. In silence, in stimulus absence, existence's great questions emerge. As Frankl observed, contemporary individuals have less time to reflect, less courage for decisions, less freedom finding meaning. Yet this meaning-finding ability sustains human dignity. What happens to minds that never rest, silence, or simply exist without stimulation? They fragment. Overloaded minds don't think, they react. They don't contemplate, they consume. Over time, minds lose their most precious ability: reflection. Reflection is more than thinking. It's stepping back, observing, allowing thoughts to settle and emotions to take shape. In this internal silent space, we build identity, understand experiences, and connect with what matters. When every microsecond gets invaded by stimuli, This space erodes. The exhausted mind loses self-touch. Without introspection moments, we don't recognize true emotions, don't know what we want, cannot identify what moves us. We become subject to external impulses, living according to suggestions, advertisements, impositions, rather than internal emergence. Kierkegaard said, "Despair's greatest form is choosing to be other than oneself." But how can one choose to be oneself without time to find oneself? The non-reflective mind is alienated from its essence, and this alienation fuels demotivation. When disconnected from emotions, values, and authentic goals, any action feels forced. Motivation is inner connection's byproduct. This connection requires silence, space, pause. Frankl stated, "Between stimulus and response there is a space. In that space lies our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom." But what happens when that space is destroyed? When there's no interval between stimulus and response? When there's no choice, only automatic reaction? Common expressions like "I feel stuck" or "something is draining me" aren't just outbursts. They're diagnoses. In a productivity-obsessed world, feeling unmotivated gets treated as personal failure. But what if apathy is actually a symptom of a sick system, of souls suffocated by superficiality? Demotivation isn't weakness, it's protest. It's a psyche's muffled cry that can no longer chase empty goals, imposed targets, stimuli promising happiness, but delivering emptiness. It's silent collapse from living outward without looking inward. You're not tired of acting. You're tired of acting without purpose. You haven't lost strength. You've exhausted energy trying to adapt to a life that doesn't represent you. Demotivation reveals painful truth. We're forcing movement where meaning lacks. What we need isn't more productivity, but reconnection. In history's darkest period, Frankl survived Auschwitz, Dachau, and other camps. He witnessed humanity's worst, saw men lose everything: family, dignity, identity. Even there, some kept life's spark not through physical strength or luck, but because they still had a why. Those with clear sense of something to live for, purpose greater than themselves, resisted psychological collapse. Frankl called this will to meaning, making it his logotherapy approach's heart. Humans aren't motivated by pleasure pursuit or power pursuit. Our deepest drive is finding existence's meaning. When meaning lacks, existential emptiness arises, the same emptiness we camouflage with distractions, toxic productivity, and incessant stimuli. Frankl's most impressive realization: meaning can be found even in pain, extreme suffering. There's room for dignity, choice, transcendence. Life never ceases to have meaning, he said, even facing inevitable suffering. This challenges modern logic, suggesting we need wellness to produce, motivation to act. Frankl reverses this. Often by acting with meaning, we rediscover strength. Purpose isn't luxury. It's basic psychological need. If motivation depends on meaning, its absence isn't weakness, but disconnection from what matters. This disconnection intensifies when we live for empty goals. Status, social validation, numbers, appearances. Frankl invites different questions. What am I living for? Not how to have more energy, but why is it worth getting up? Not how to be more productive, but what truly moves me? In his words, man is capable of enduring any how as long as he has a why. That why needn't be grand. A child, personal mission, ideal, even simple task lived authentically. The essential thing is genuineness, coming from within, connecting you to something greater than now's immediacy. In a society where stimulation absence seems threatening, discussing silence sounds heretical. Silence confronts us, forcing us to listen to what we've avoided. Chaotic thoughts, repressed pains, uncomfortable questions. Yet in this seemingly hostile territory lies the key to reconnecting with what truly matters. Modern humans are conditioned to fear emptiness. They cannot stand waiting, cannot tolerate solitude, don't know how to simply be. But emptiness, this unfilled space, isn't mistake. It's invitation. Invitation to pause, observe, reorganize. Only when noise ceases can we hear consciousness's voice. Only when excess dissolves can the essential emerge. Frankl said life demands response from each of us, but to respond, one must first listen. We're so accustomed to constant information flow, opinions, external expectations that we've become deaf to our inner call. This call isn't loud or spectacular. It's subtle, whispered between thoughts. It's captured only when we create silent space. Turning off phones, or refusing another task, saying no to non-essentials may seem uncomfortable initially. But discomfort signals stepping out of automatic. It's clarity's harbinger. Before motivation comes silence. Before aligned action comes honest listening. Before purpose comes confronting what you've avoided. Yes, silence can expose insecurities, doubts, resentments, but it can also reveal forgotten values, authentic desires, unexplored directions. Discomfort and stimulation absence isn't the enemy. It's reintegration's beginning. In this space, the soul previously stifled by rush and noise begins whispering long-ignored truths. As Frankl wrote, each of us has to find in his own life a unique meaning, a mission that is his. No life can be replaced, no destiny repeated. Each one is irreplaceable. There comes a moment when you can no longer continue on autopilot, when emptiness speaks louder than distraction, when fatigue can't be relieved by another video, scroll, or task. This is rupture's moment, and paradoxically, the starting point. True motivation isn't loud. It doesn't come with easy promises or ready formulas. It doesn't arise from pleasing others, meeting external goals, or following imposed standards. It emerges when you contact what's non-negotiable within you. Deepest values, forgotten dreams, rawest truth. It's a silent but relentless force. A spark that once ignited completely transforms how you act in the world. This doesn't require heroism or grand gestures. It starts with the simple, turning off noise, honest self-examination, saying, "This no longer serves me." It's moving against chaos, stopping frantic running in all directions, and beginning to walk inward. In this internal space, purpose takes shape. There you begin acting not from obligation, but meaning, not from impulse, but choice, not to escape, but to express who you truly are. Demotivation isn't a flaw. It's an invitation to stop living on the surface and dive into what's real. A sign it's time to reconnect, make silence, regain presence, act with intention. Frankl survived hell and emerged with powerful truth. Everything can be taken from a man except one thing, the last of human freedoms: to choose his attitude in any given circumstances, to choose his own way. You still have that freedom. Use it to interrupt superficiality's cycle and begin a new narrative, one where you're no longer at stimulu's mercy, but guided by purpose. If this resonates, consider subscribing to Beyond the Mind and leaving a like to support this content. What will you leave behind starting today? What noise will you silence to hear your own voice? The path to purposeful life doesn't end here. It's just beginning.